The year 2026 will not just be a turning point for Cancer. It will feel like an internal earthquake, after which it is impossible to remain the same. If you feel like the last few months are bringing you to the edge, don't back down. It is on this edge that a new version of oneself is born. This year, you will face circumstances that will force you to either close yourself in a shell, or finally reveal what you have been hiding from the world for so long. And yes, everything you hear in this video is already beginning to manifest itself in your life. You may not even realize how close you've come to the point where there's no turning back. Stay until the end, because it is in one of the months that the very chance awaits you that can change everything. January 2026 for Cancer will begin not with silence after the New Year holidays, but with an internal earthquake that will feel like pressure under the chest, not pain, but an insistent reminder that something needs attention. Everything that you diligently hushed up in the last months of 2025, resentments, unspoken claims, suppressed desires, will begin to make its way out. It's especially likely that in the first half of the month, there will be a conversation that you've been putting off for years. You may accidentally run into someone you've been keeping your distance from for a long time. A former friend, relative, or colleague with whom there was an unresolved conflict. Or he will get in touch on his own, not for the sake of reconciliation, but because circumstances will force you to be at the same point again. This dialogue may begin with sharpness, with misunderstanding, but it contains the key to the long-awaited liberation. February will dramatically shift the focus from the inner world to relationships, as if the universe is saying, now that you've sorted yourself out a little bit, it's time to see who's next. If you're in a couple, this month can be a test of strength. Not necessarily because of infidelity, conflict, or quarrel, but rather because of the pressure you will feel from the outside. Parents may insist on certain decisions. Moving, getting married, having children. Work will require more effort, and the social environment may impose norms that you have long outgrown. And all this pressure can turn into tension between you and your partner. One of you may accuse the other of not holding the punch or pulling back. But it's not really a conflict between you, it's a conflict between you and the outside world. And if you both realize this, then instead of breaking the bond, you can strengthen it. Open the conversation not from the position of you have to, but from the position of let's figure out how we can handle this together. For lonely Cancers, February will be a month of unexpected encounters. For Cancer, March 2026 will be marked by silence, but not emptiness, rather by an inner storm that no one around you will see. You won't complain, rage, or demand change. On the contrary, outwardly you may seem particularly collected, even detached. But something much more significant will happen inside. The familiar coordinate system will be shaken. What you've been sacrificing time, energy, and even yourself for years will suddenly start to seem meaningless. You may be wondering, why am I building all this? And you won't find the same answer. It's not depression or fatigue, although the body may react this way. Lethargy, heaviness in the chest, a feeling as if you stopped believing. In fact, you haven't stopped believing. You just don't believe in what you used to believe anymore. This is a deep internal reboot, comparable to how a reptile sheds its skin. The old shell doesn't fit anymore, but the new one hasn't formed yet. April will dramatically change the atmosphere. After the inner silence of March, you will feel the first signs of movement, as if a new force has stirred underground. The professional sphere will become the main arena of change. Already in the first days of the month, an offer may be received that at first glance seems too bold, unusual, or even frivolous. You may be offered to lead a project that does not have a clear plan, participate in an initiative that goes beyond your area of expertise, or even change the format of your work altogether. Switch to freelancing, start your own business, collaborate with an unfamiliar team. At first, you will feel resistance. I'm not ready. It's not mine. What if it's a failure? But it is precisely in this resistance that the trap lies. Because 2026 does not require perfection from Cancer, but sincerity. And this project is a chance to express what you realized in March. Even if it seems risky on the surface, on the inside it resonates with your new truth. May 2026 will be an emotional peak for Cancer, not in the sense of an explosion, but in the sense of an epiphany. Everything that you've been going through since the beginning of the year, the internal fluctuations of January, the tension in February, the revision of values in March, and the tentative steps to a new one in April, will now come to the surface in the form of a specific event. Perhaps you will receive a message from a person from the past, encounter a situation reminiscent of an old trauma, or simply see in the mirror an emotion that you have long learned to mask. And at that moment, the resentments that you considered long forgotten will return, not as pain, but as a burden that you still carry. The usual reaction of Cancer, to shut down, to withdraw into oneself, to hide feelings under a layer of "I can handle it," will be especially strong. But this month you have an extraordinarily rare opportunity to forgive. Not in the sense of forgiving out of kindness or out of a sense of duty, but as a conscious act of liberation. Forgiveness here is not "it's okay, but I don't want to carry this with me anymore." It won't change the past, but it will change your future, because it's at this moment that you will feel inner lightness for the first time in many years. June will bring with it an unexpected but important meeting, or, if you're already in a relationship, an unexpected dive into what's already there. For single Cancers, it can be a person you meet in a casual setting, at a conference, in a library, through mutual friends. He won't be ideal in terms of appearance, but his presence will make you look at yourself in a new way. In his gaze, words, or even silence, you will see a reflection of your hidden qualities, those that you either suppressed or considered unworthy of attention. It won't necessarily become a romantic union, but even short-term communication will leave a mark on you. You will begin to see a power in yourself that you have not noticed before. If you are a couple, June will offer you a chance to reach a new level of mutual understanding. After the emotional cleansing in May, both of you will be more open, but only on condition that you do not return to the old patterns. July 2026 will be the moment of truth for Cancer, the turning point after which you will no longer be able to return to the old as it was. Everything that you have been going through internally since March, doubts, revision of values, emotional cleansing, will now result in a concrete, tangible act. It won't be an impulsive decision made in anger or desperation. On the contrary, it will be mature and balanced, even if it looks harsh. Perhaps you will finally leave a position that has been exhausting you for a long time, but which you held out of fear or a sense of duty. Or put an end to a relationship in which there has been no reciprocity for a long time, but which you have been justifying for years. August, in turn, will bring a strange, almost paradoxical state. Silence outside, echo inside. After taking a decisive step in July, you may feel a sudden emptiness. Not disappointment, not regret, but a space that is not yet filled with meaning. You did what you were supposed to do, but now you don't know what to do next. This is not a mistake or a sign that you messed up. On the contrary, it's a sign that you've made room. In August, it is especially important not to rush to fill this void with new commitments, relationships, or goals. Don't look for immediate answers. Allow yourself to just be. September 2026 will be the month in which intuition takes shape for Cancer. Everything that you nurtured in the silence of August will begin to manifest itself through action, not necessarily loud, but unexpectedly accurate. Even if you've been denying yourself a creative streak all your life, this month you will find an unconventional, almost instinctive approach to a situation that seems to have no solution. Perhaps at work you will suggest a format of interaction that no one has considered before, and it will work. Or in your personal life, you will resolve the conflict not with logic, but with a gesture. Not with words, but with an act that will touch another person to the core. This will not be creativity in the classical sense. Rather, it will be the expression of your inner truth through an external form. October, in turn, will bring deep physical and emotional balance. After months of internal storms and decisive steps, you will feel for the first time in a long time that everything is in order. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are finally at peace with yourself. However, the body can give a gentle but clear signal. It's time to slow down. It can be a slight fatigue in the morning, insomnia not from anxiety, but from overexertion, or just a feeling that the body is asking for rest. This is not a sign of an impending crisis. It is an invitation to care. This month, it is especially important to return to the basic rituals. Going to bed on time, eating consciously, and allowing yourself to do nothing without feeling guilty. November 2026 will enter Cancer's life as a quiet but powerful signal from the outside, as if the universe is responding to something you haven't even told yourself about. This month, you will receive messages that cannot be ignored. One of them may be bright. An unexpected financial gain, an offer of cooperation that fits perfectly into your new life vector, or an invitation to participate in a project that reflects your inner transformation. Perhaps a person with whom you have lost touch for a long time will call you, and his words will open the door to a new stage. But the other message may be more complicated. Information that requires you to be mature, responsible, or even make painful choices. December will end 2026 not with fireworks, but with a deep, almost bodily sense of peace. You won't talk loudly about your achievements, because the real victory of this year is that you finally stopped running from yourself. There will be silence inside, which you used to confuse with loneliness, but now you will learn how to feel at home. This is not a result, but a state. You are at home. This month, the themes of family, heritage, and family memory may be particularly acute. Perhaps you will come across an old box of letters, learn from relatives details of family history that will shed light on your own fears and beliefs. Or just in conversation with your mother, father, grandmother, you suddenly realize, yeah, that's where I got it from. This realization will not be painful, it will be liberating. Because once you know the roots, you will get the right to transplant them. The year 2026 for Cancer is the path from protection to disclosure. Each month will offer a choice. Stay in a familiar but stuffy shelter, or take a step towards the unknown, which in fact is already waiting for you. The main event of the year will happen not when you expect it, but when you stop being afraid to be yourself. The year will end not with a loud finale, but with a quiet but confident yes to yourself.